Our next topic is scenario analysis, and here we have a company who sells some kind of a product, let's say a bag that costs $40. When we're selling a product, the production costs are often divided between fixed costs and variable costs. Fixed costs mean that it's some kind of a cost that is always the same, no matter how many units we produce, how many bags we produce. For instance, when we have acquired a production facility and we are heating it, we have to heat it no matter what. When we are, for instance, amortizing this production facility and we want to buy a new one in the future, then we will also have to pay this loan on that production facility, and then these costs, the amortization cost, is again fixed no matter how much we produce. The other side is the variable costs. These depend on how much we produce. For instance, the first thing that comes into mind in case of producing bags is material. That will really depend on how much we have produced. The other thing is that actually the work itself, when we're paying the salaries of workers, it's actually a good idea in case of bags to pay only for the number of bags that have been produced. So this is a variable cost as well. Now let's say that our sales number is 100,000. Let's make a correction here, and let's start calculating our monetary values. Revenue, which is in other words money coming in, equals, but we have to give names at first, so let's select these 10 cells here and let's give formulas. Create from selection, left column, and this cell will be price, fixed cost, variable cost, sales. And let's do it again. Let's select these 3 cells and give formulas, create from selection, and left column. Now the revenue is equals price 40 times sales 100,000, and here it is 4 million is the answer. Now let's calculate the costs. All the costs are calculated when we write equals fixed cost, which is always the same, in our case $1 million, plus variable cost, which is 32, times sales, because variable cost is for each bag we have produced. And here it is, $4.2 million. So the company is in a bit of losses. We write equals revenue minus all costs, and we get that the company has minus 200,000 in losses. Okay. The next thing we're going to calculate is, or look at, is that in case of such a workbook, we see that these numbers here are our input cells. This is like the data that we're using, and these here are formulas that calculate the result which ends up in profit. So now there is a way for us to display visually what this workbook or what this Excel file looks like. So in order to do that, we'll select formulas, and let's actually double click on formulas so that this part of the ribbon will be displayed permanently at the moment. And let's click on profit, and now we can click on trace precedence here, and here it is. Every time we click trace precedence, it goes and shows which cells profit is using. Right now, revenues and all costs. We go back to profit and click trace precedence again, and this will now show which cells will revenue and all costs be using. So we're kind of showing the whole logic of that entire worksheet here. Now we can click on remove arrows, and we can also let's say take sales and show the cells that are using sales. So click on trace dependence, and here it is, revenue and all costs. And now we can click again and see that these sales are furthermore used in profits via revenues and all costs. So we are kind of able to move up the stream. I'm going to click on remove arrows again and click on profit upstream. This is how it goes. Or we can select, let's say, sales or something else and move downstream. Now our question is as follows. What we want to do is we want to set the profit to 0. We want to know when exactly does the company move from losses to profits. But of course we cannot write a 0 in here. Why? Because it just destroys the formula. Remember, there was a formula in here. So there is a tool next to formula, auditing, trace precedence, next to that we just learned. There is also a tool that will let us set a formula with a cell with a formula in it. Let's set this formula cell into 0, and lets us change something upstream, some kind of a number. So this number can change freely because it contains no formula. Now what we want to do is we want to set this formula to 0 and let the sales number change, so that we will get to know with which kind of a sales level will we be attaining profit from losses to profits. Because notice this, the more we sell, since the price is always bigger than the variable cost here in our case, the more we sell, the more such additional positive money we get. And this will in the end cover all these fixed costs that sets us to a big minus in the beginning. So everything we sell will give us price, added money, and only cost us 32. So it will just get us closer and closer to profitability. So let's click on data, what if analysis, and goal seek this time. And with goal seek, let's say set cell profit to 0. So we want to see when the profit is 0 by changing the cell sales number. And when we click OK, so set cell profit to 0 by changing cell sales number. Click OK, and here it is. It turns out that if the sales raise to 125,000, the company will be out of losses. So we have been able to kind of set the formula to what we want by changing the beginning number data cell.